momentum taking him over has apparently potentially spilled the ball, so that might be one the referees got wrong. They were all there in the area and gave the try, and maybe that one's he got wrong. But to be honest, it didn't matter what the fuck he did from the first decision he made in the game. That Widnes fans got on his back. They were ready to have a good Scott Michalowska bash, no matter what happens.
Right.
And they forgot about the fact that their team's discipline was appalling in the game, and they just kept making ruck infringements after ruck infringements. They forget some of the decisions that were given for them against Wigan in the game right at the start of the season that were exactly replicated with the exact same outcome in this game, and they booed it then, but loved it in round 2. Or this might be round 2, whatever the way it works.
Yeah.
They loved it now. They hated it now and loved it then. Like the one that there was a penalty on either Buchanan or Dudson, because I couldn't work it out. Where they basically pulled the leg of the man standing at marker to try and win a penalty.
Right.
And I think if that penalty had been given, Wigan might have gotten a team warning. But instead, Widnes gave away a penalty, gave 3 penalties away in the next minute of play and got put on a team warning.
Right.
Now, or 2 minutes of play, let's say, and got put on a team warning. Now, Houston had a lot to say to the referee in this game, and I'm not sure the referee heard him out very often, but every single decision that happened, Houston was up in the referee's ears and the fans were on him. But the decision right at the start, that started it all off, was a kick was charged down, and there was a bit of jostling for position between the chaser of the charge down and Tommy Luluai. And I don't know, like I didn't have as good a view of it as the referee, but I did say to Cass at the time, did Luluai sort of put his arm out there to block the man off? But Cass said, I'm not sure the guy didn't have a tug at Luluai before that happened, sort of thing. So maybe it was a 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But yeah, from that on, it was boo, 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 no matter how much Widnes infringed on the game. And actually, I think the scoreline was an accurate reflection of the game. Both teams were pretty poor in attack, but Wigan put more on than Widnes did. And I think maybe we go to the...
There you go. Well, no, fair play.
If we talk about any individual things in the game, Lloyd White was the scorer of both the tries for Widnes, and very switched on, but both their tries came from massive lapses from Wigan. Very good play right on the end of the first half, set up their first try, and then a fortuitous bounce off the back of a Wigan player who wasn't charging down a kick, and then Willie Isa, who was the person who was dawdling on the first try as well, didn't have as good a game as last week in this one. I thought he might have been up for it against his former team, and he seemed to get a bit put off quite quickly. But yeah, he just didn't even look to try and do something with his kick that bounced off John Bateman's back, letting Lloyd White pick it up for a ridiculous dummy that Sam Tompkins never should have fallen for with the defensive cover around him, but he did. And I said that was his first big defensive mistake since he's come back in the side, and that resulted in the second try. But other than those two lapses / pieces of fortune / good enterprising playing to the sort of whistle and the ball by Widnes, they did not threat whatsoever.
Yeah.
They were awful in attack. Wigan put on a few decent plays. There was a couple of tries from kicks that were decent, and Burgess rounded off with a couple of scores.
Okay, fair news. So what are the stats tell us on this one?
Stats say Wigan were much better than Widnes in this game. 358 more metres at 1.1 metres per carry average gain and 6 breaks to 3, all in Wigan's favour. More offloads and tackle busts too means a win on every one of the attacking numbers we look at. Wigan also tackled at 97% team success rate, which is good for them in recent weeks, what we want to see from Wigan's perspective, for a 2.1% better team tackle success than Widnes. The Vikings made 3 more errors, 12 to the 9 of Wigan, and were on the wrong side of a close 10-9 penalty count. Only making 891 metres at 5.6 metres per carry is what cost the Vikings most here, though, I think.
There you go. Okay.
Wigan's defensive line speed, for me, was the story of the game.
Fair play. Right, so for Wigan, then, who stood out for us?
Tony Clubb on his return.
Fantastic. 56 days after having a kidney removed. Phenomenal.
And there was a boost. The crowd obviously gave him a big, good reception because of what he's been through and what he's come back from, and getting back on the field and getting himself ready so quick. And, he took in a few good carries.
Covering time, wasn't it?
One try, 102 metres. Liam Farrell on his birthday, a try assist in 149 metres. John Bateman with a try assist, 5 tackle busts, 130 metres, 4 successful offloads. Ollie Gildart, 5 tackle busts, 124 metres, 3 clean breaks. Anthony Gelling, 113 metres, returning from injury for him as well.
Anyone do anything for Widnes?
Well, Lloyd White grabbed those 2 tries. and played long minutes in this game in a couple of different positions and stuff, and was a bit of a threat. If they had one, it was him. Matt Whitley, 43 tackles.
Fantastic.
There was a big tackle that made some of the highlights packages of this game. Joe Burgess on what's his name? The one who was the Wigan centre, now plays on the wing for them. Anyway, people know what I mean.
Him.
Where Burgess, he got the ball out wide and it was kind of a one-on-one situation, and Burgess just stood up to him, wrapped him up full style and just walked him out of touch. And it was a massive moment in the game because Widnes had back-to-back sets because of a couple of Wigan errors or penalties that had happened, and Widnes, it was in that brief spell after the Lloyd White try, Widnes had a spell where they were good for about 5 to 10 minutes and Wigan were poor. For the only time in the game, I felt like Wigan defensively were a little bit confused. For 5 minutes or so. But that tackle ended that period, and from there on, Wigan looked like they were easy winners.
So what does all that mean for the standings in Super League then?
Cast stretched their lead to 8 points at the top of the table. They were going to the Super 8s in first place no matter what happens in the next 3 weeks. Salford and Leeds come next. Hull in fourth on 25 points. Wakefield are just a point behind them. There's a 5-point gap back to St Helens, and Wigan back on 19 before Huddersfield on 17 make up the top 8. Catalan into 9th make up some ground on Huddersfield. Warrington are on 14 points in 10th from Widnes on 11, who now need to rely on everything to go their way to avoid the qualifiers, and Lee on 10, who have no such chance.
There you go, Lee in the middle 8s then. So, what does all that do in terms of predictions, Super Brew and Dream Team updates,
You were
Mark?
6 out of 6, Thomas. Did you get your accumulator?
No, I should have got myself out of Bill Hills for a quick flutter, shouldn't I?
I was 5 out of 6, which means the gap opens up to a 10 pick margin, 95 to my 85, so well done, sir.
It's going alright, that's a good week, that, 6 out of 6. 5 out of 6 is a great week, though.
Well,
just one of those.
It would have been.
Unfortunate.
Yeah.
No, where did we go different? Did you have Warrington to beat Wakefield?
No, I had Saints.
You had Saints beating Leeds.
Yeah.
What a bad shout as the way the week went, though, was it? It was just once the 19s came out. Fair enough. Super Brew then.
Ollie Smith takes top spot after second spoon in a row for Dr. Bob Phillips. Phil Long is wearing the yellow cap this week, so well done to Phil. Get in touch, Phil. We don't know who you are very well.
Yeah.
Dream Team. Stephen Bowie stays at the top. Top scorer this week, though, came from the mid-table with Lee Whitnell, 637. Well done, Lee.
Congratulations. He's one of our own. Fantastic. Okay, that's Super League round 20 covered. Let's take a look now at some results from elsewhere in the world of rugby league. Okay, so the results from elsewhere in Rugby League then. Round 20 of Championship play, Mark. Dewsbury were 40 points to 10 winners over the Rochdale Hornets. Featherstone 42 points to 14 winners over the Batley Bulldogs. Halifax and Bradford played out a close derby, 20 points to 18 in favour of the Blue Sox. Hull KR were 40 points to 22 winners over the London Broncos, a result which means Hull KR win the Championship League Leaders' Shield with some time to spare. It was Oldham 14, Toulouse 12.
Yeah, Howard M, 1978, got in touch.
Good man.
Good stuff. Fantastic start by Oldham and huge defensive effort. Oldham's first try came from the impressive Stephen Neild, but conversion missed by Hewitt. Toulouse hit back after back-to-back penalties converted by Carilla. At half-time it was 6-4. Second half, Oldham worked hard for the victory, and even a try back from Toulouse making a nervy finish couldn't stop the 2 points. Yeah, it sounds like they were on top.
It does. They definitely want to see Bradford relegated, don't they? Sheffield 42, Swinton 34 was the final game of the round. Points are plenty down at Bellevue, Mark.
Yeah, big scores. So, Hull KR now stay top. That's it. Hull are on 30 points with Featherstone on 29. Wins by either of them or both of them next week secure their qualifiers places. Toulouse stay fourth, but are now only ahead of Halifax, who are doing their best to butcher their job, aren't they? But still clean. Now they're only ahead of them on points difference. So both out of form sides, I suppose you would argue. Dewsbury keep rising, now in 8th. Overtaking Rochdale is Swinton, who slip into the hypothetical relegation places, with Oldham moving up 2 spots. Bradford stay rooted to the bottom.
Yes, they do. It was League One, round 13. Barrow Raiders were 36 points to 6 winners over our friends at the Gloucestershire All-Golds.
Yes, Lee Randall said, didn't travel to this one as had to work a weekend. Yes, what's that all about? So put it on the radio after 11 minutes when the All-Golds were already 14-0 down and thought it would be a long afternoon. It was a credit to our players to keep the score to 36-6. With previous games would have been a heavier scoreline against us. No All-Golds next week as I travel to Perpignan to watch Catalan versus Wigan when the All-Golds enjoy Toronto.
Speaking of Toronto, there were 64 points to 22 winners over in Canada over the York City Knights.
Yeah, on Canada Day, they wore that red strip.
Yes,
and
they did.
Barely could get over the line for the first 20 minutes or so until they romped it.
Yeah, fair play. Good to see someone put a fight. Yeah, exactly. Dewsbury B were defeated 18 points to 0 at home by the South Wales Ironmen. It was Oxford 20, North Wales 52.
Yeah, and Tim G Radio said, one of the more bizarre days I've had at the rugby. Kick-off delayed by over 2 hours and you'd have thought we were the ones who'd had the long, distrusted journey. Final result more depressing than anything. We had Patches, but that's all it ever was. Should rename us Patches O'Hooligan. Pass me a wrench. Hopefully I can get home by 9 for a full 12-hour day. Woohoo.
If you can catch a ball, you can catch a wrench. Every credit. Doncaster were defeated 10 points to 20 by the Newcastle Thunder. It was Hunslet RLFC 56, Coventry Bears 24. Whitehaven were 28 to 22 winners over the Keighley Cougars, and Workington defeated the London Scholars 46 points to 16.
So yeah, with just 2 regular rounds left in League One, Toronto stay top on 26, 2 ahead of Whitehaven and 3 ahead of Barrow. There's then a 7-point gap to 4th place York and 5th place Newcastle. Workington and Doncaster are 6th and 7th on 14, although the Dons could get up to 4th if they win their midweek game in hand. That's going on right now, I guess, against Oxford. Keighley round out the top 8 on 12 points, although the League One Super 8 is still all to play for, with Keighley only there on points difference, and Hunslet, North Wales and the All-Golds also on 12 points. Although the Scholars and Oxford have a very slim mathematical top 8 chances, they lead the also-rans, and then Hemel are now destined to finish the regular season in bottom place, you would think, with a points difference overhaul. That looks impossible.
Fantastic. Tingy Radio got in touch with us over a juniors game as well, Mark.
Yeah, it was the Oxford Cavaliers juniors under 15s versus the London Scholars same age group. The return fixture was again competitive, with the Scholars coming good in the last 10 minutes. Oxford definitely improving and broke the line well a few times to score some lovely tries. How quick can we get these lads into the first team?
Well, there you go. It was round 17 of the NRL this weekend, and the Parramatta Eels were drop goal winners over the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs, 13 points to 12. Gold Coast Titans defeated the St George Illawarra Dragons by 20 points to 10. That was a game in which Joe Greenwood and Gareth Widdop both played, but didn't really stand out, Mark, you would say. The Brisbane Broncos were defeated at home, 12 points to 42 by the impressive Melbourne Storm. My Sharkies went 2 points better, though, with a 44 points to 12 win away at the Sydney Roosters. Manly Sea Eagles, who have been investigated for salary cap breaches, it was announced this week, were 26 points to 22 winners over the New Zealand Warriors. Canberra Raiders defeated at home 18 points to 31 by the North Queensland Cowboys. Elliot Whitehead featured there, grabbing a try and a try assist.
Newcastle Hodgson, though, which is a blow for the Raiders.
Yeah. Newcastle Knights 12, West Tigers 33. A rare appearance and a try for Joe Wardle.
From the wing, I believe. I didn't watch the game, but from the wing, I believe.
And the Burgess boys right in force as the Rabbitohs beat the Panthers by 42 points to 14, Mark.
Yeah, that they were. Tom Burgess had 134 metres. Sam Burgess had a try assist and 114. And then even George Burgess turned up this time, 142 metres.
Let's keep those three playing well like that in leading to a World Cup. Yeah, that'll do well. Hit some form now, boys.
Well, either play well or don't get picked, please.
Yeah.
Doncaster beat Oxford 34-16, so Doncaster have gone 4th and they're looking good for a potential playoff push.
There you go. So what does that mean for the NRL then in terms of league positions now?
It means that the Storm stay top on 28 points, 2nd to 4th are all on 24 points. The Sharks, the Sea Eagles and the Roosters. The Broncos and the Cowboys both have 22, so just behind. Dragons and Eels on 20 make up the top 8. There's a 4-point gap to the Panthers, Warriors and Rabbitohs. The Raiders, Bulldogs and Titans on 14 all still have outside playoff hopes, whilst West Tigers are off the bottom after beating the Knights, who replace them there in what our friends at Twilwood call a Spoonerpalooza.
Spoonerpalooza. Right, that is the world of rugby league covered for last week. Let's take a look into the near future now, as we bring you our predictions for round 21 of Super League.